Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss Microsoft Agent Framework. And Microsoft Agent Framework is, let's say, a continuation of semantic kernel and autogen projects. It brings together ideas from these projects and extends them. It is a similar framework to LangChain, for example, or LangGraph, but it is Microsoft based. Now, I will go and discuss major aspects of this framework and see how they, let's say, compare with some other frameworks and how they work together. Well, let's start. So there are two primary categories or capabilities that this framework offers. It's AI agents and workflows. And AI agents, well, as the name tells you, they are just simple AI functionalities that call LLMs, have memory, can have tools, but are just one, let's say, individual instance. You can see it maybe as a chatbot, for example. And workflows are a combination of these AI agents, very sequential, in parallel. So workflows are a way to combine the AI agents. Now, they ask you why another agent framework. Well, I see it like this. And by this I mean the whole agentic story is a very hot topic, a very new topic. So it is evolving, and it is normal that Microsoft started experimenting with semantic kernel autogen, but now this whole agentic area is becoming more and more mature. So it's normal that the initial ideas are now getting more refined and joined together, and then make it such that it works better. I'm using Python here, though there is also a .NET option. And in Python, you just install agent framework, and then you have agents that can, interact with LLM or tools / MCP. So the agents, and you will see later, can use both tools that are internal, let's say, abstraction, and MCP, which is a more, let's say, external abstraction. Let's say it's more a way to interfere with outside world. So these are agents, and they say when to use agents, when not to use agents. And actually, this is really good, because you should not use agents for tasks that are highly structured and require strict adherence to predefined rules. And that is because the agents are calling LLMs which are inherently not deterministic. And then workflows. This is an example. So there's a user calls a workflow, and then workflow executes some agents, maybe some subtasks, and returns the output. So workflow are just agents working together in some way. And I'm not going to go quick start guide. We're going to the tutorials, and these tutorials I'm going to go to major tutorials, but you will see these tutorials don't give all the information. Some information is also in user guide. So let's go. So creating a running agent is quite easy. You install the framework, you create a so-called Azure OpenAI chat client, which I guess is very similar to other chat clients that Microsoft provided before, but now it is from Agent Framework. And then when you make this chat client, you say, okay, create me an agent with these instructions, with this name, and also other parameters which will come later. And then you say, okay, agent run. It's asynchronous, you await it. Agent runs, you print text. Very easy. Now, this is the simplest way to run the agent. You can also run the agent with streaming, so you can make sure that when the result is returned from the agent, it is being streamed, like the tokens are being streamed, or you can run the agent with a check message, which then can also run either just one shot or streaming. That's easy. Now you can use images with agent. I will not focus on that, but what is important is that multi-turn conversation is innately enabled, so the agent will remember what has happened. And why is that? Well, because each agent uses something called threads, and threads have internal memory, and later there is much more information on how to stop threads, how to restart them, etc., etc. So I will not go deeply into that, but let's say that agents are keeping track of some memory. Yes. Then tools, and as I said, well, agents can use functional tools and they can use also MCPs. And in here, in the tutorials, you will see how to use tools, function tools, but MCPs are very similar to this. So what is a tool? A tool is just a method that is in a certain way annotated. Yeah, so you say this is a function, it says this name and description. Yeah, usually this is also how you would annotate or put some information in MCP tools, and you say, okay, I have agent, which is this client, and I want to use this tool. Yeah. And then you run the agent, and then this agent will use tools. You can make also class with multiple tools, and then yeah, this is also an option. And then you can use also human in the loop, and I'm not going to go into that. Then we are going to say, okay, the agent can also produce structured output. So if you use Pydantic, you can make and import the base model. You can then make your own class with some properties, and then say, okay, my agent, I want the response format to be in the according to the class that I made. And then actually it can, or it does not need to return the output as this class. For example, it does not have enough information, and then you can get, you can check it out and see if it returned or not these values. Okay, then agent can also be used as function tool, of course, because now the functions are just tools. So you can also say, well, actually this is even easier. You can make an agent and then say, just use this agent as tool. Yeah, very simple, very nice. You can make agents that you can split your tasks into small parts where each agent, let's say, performs smaller amount of work, and then combine them in one bigger agent as tools. Then you can expand as an agent an MCP tool, which also I will not go into details. Then observability, that is also quite important. So observability is done through OpenTelemetry, and then you can need to configure it, configure some, enable it to say what is the endpoint, and then you just create and run the agent, and that's it. And you will get the telemetry from this agent. You can also integrate more closely to Microsoft Foundry, but that is a more complex setup, and then you need to set your own permissions, etc., etc. So it is not easy, but you can do it. You can integrate the, let's say, agent telemetry with Foundry. And the middleware, well, what middleware in this context means, but middleware means it's a way to perform actions before or after your agent does things. Yeah. So, for example, you see here that this is a called logging agent middleware, and then it just says, okay, this is when the agent started, and this is when the agent ended, and then it just executes the agent. So that's called the next method with the context. So in a sense, you can use this to check maybe the context. You can use it to log things. You can use it to maybe run some guardrails. There are a lot of things that you can think of what you can use in in this middleware. It's easily added. You just add it as when you make an agent, you say, okay, this is my middleware, similar as you would do with tools, and that's it. Now, if your agents also use tools, these tools also can have this middleware, so you can also use the middleware there. Then persisting conversations. This is about the threads. So each agent has a thread, so you can save these threads by using serialize method, and you can then load these threads later by using deserialize. And then you can continue with these threads, and these threads are actually the all the information, all the calls to the agent, and everything that is needed to enact the same conversation you had with the agent. Okay, now I'm going to now go into the workflows and discuss the workflows. So workflows, as I said, are ways to combine agents. There is a sequential workflow. So you say, okay, this is a workflow where I want to have two agents, one after another. Then you need to do some imports. You need to make something that you say are executors, and executors are, let's say, like nodes. And then you say, okay, I want to build a workflow. I use the workflow builder. I add edges from a node to node, so uppercase to reverse text. Then set my start node, and then say build. It's very similar to the long graph. And then you just run the workflow, say, okay, I want to run workflow, and then it just does things. Then workflows, actually, in here, these workflows are running actually without agents. They're just running with nodes that are, in this case, some kind of functions that are annotated with the executor annotations. But you can also run them with agents, and we'll come to that. And that is sequential and then concurrent workflow. So it means that two nodes can run in parallel. Yeah, so average and sum. So in here you say, okay, I'm having a dispatcher. Dispatches something to average and summation. So fan out means it goes concurrently, and then average and summation fan in and going to aggregator after they are both done. And that's it. Yeah. Then how do you use agents in the workflows? Okay, you make the agent here. So this is a helper function. Then you make specialized AI agents. For example, in here you write a writer agent. You see, you may write reviewer agents. You say my workflow is workflow builder. You start with the executor, which is called writer, so the node writer, and then you add edge from writer to review and build it. And then you can execute it with streaming. Of course, you can execute it just also the other way around. We just sending them the message to the workflow, and that's it. So how it works, it uses Azure client. So it's a way for Azure to let's say encapsulate agent functionality, create a functions that manages context lifecycle for multiple agents. Then this one is actually sequential processing that the writer agents generates the content, then passes it to the reviewer agent, and then you see that there is agent run update event. So whenever something comes from an agent, this agent run update event provides the tokens to see where you are in the process. And then as exit stack is a cleanup of Azure AI resources. and that's it. Now create a workflow with branching logic. So the flows can be sequential or concurrent, but it can be branching, meaning conditional. And then in here, it's I'm just going to go further. These are all, for example, send email, handle spam. So these are all executors, all nodes, and then we have here make agents, agent executors, so agent nodes. Then we make conditional workflow here. So workflow builder, you start from there always. You set what is the start node, and you add edge. This edge is from spam detection agent to email assistant request if condition is false, and then you add edge from email assistant request to email assistant agent, and from email assistant agent and to handle mail request. Or if if it is spam, then you add also an edge from spam detection agent to handle spam classifier response. And if the condition is get condition, this is a really bad name, so this should probably be named get is spam true, but it doesn't matter. So what this does, it first runs the spam detection agent, and then if spam is detected, then it goes to handle spam classifier response, and if the spam is not detected, then it goes to email assistant request and then to email assistant agent and then handle email response. So this is a branching logic. Again, we are not going to go into details of this. So there is switch case edges, so there is more complex edges. For example, in here, so switch case, so based on to detection result, if it's very similar. So if if the result detected is not spam, then it goes to submit email. If it's spam, then it goes to handle spam. And that's it. Then yeah, multi-selection edges. Okay, so these are partition edges that allow for fan out, but fan out patterns. So more concurrent workflows. Let's see where it goes. So this is all setting up. So you see these are all either executor functions or executor agents, which means that nodes can be either functions and agents. And in here, this is intelligent fan out based on the content. So this is multi-selection edge group to analyze results. And then you can go to handle spam, submit to email, summarize email, and handle uncertain. And selection function is select target. So there is a target. There's a function that selects the targets from to analyze this result to these four possible results. And I guess if we go into the select targets function, we'll find out how these are actually selected. And then this email is always for not spam, only for long spam. So this is now then you go into different flows, and actually this would be very nice if this would be turned into a mermaid diagram, but I'm not going to do this right now. And then this is the database presence, etc. Okay, so yeah, this is a lot that you can do with workflows. So again, with normal agents and workflows, it is the most, let's say, common component for Microsoft Agent Framework. And the only thing left I want to show is this in the user guide. You can actually check, okay, what are the agent tools. So you can get more information about details, but the important thing is model context protocol, because now model context protocol is de facto standard for communicating between models or between agents and tools. And then how it works, well, let's go into how it works. Well, there is several ways to call MCP. can call them by using MCP standard stdio tool, which can be used for the local MCP server. So if you have a local MCP server, you can say, okay, this is my local MCP server, this name, this command, and these are the arguments, and it communicates to your local MCP server via standard input output. Then if you use MCP server that has streamable HTTP, then you use MCP streamable HTTP tool that then takes the name of the MCP server, the URL, and the headers for the authorization. And you can also use WebSocket. So if you have MCP servers that are on WebSockets, then you can just say, okay, this is how you use it. You have the MCP WebSocket tool, and then you see, okay, well, let's go with this example on how to actually use the tool. Okay, you say this is my tool is of type MCP WebSocket tool. I call it MCP server, and I have now one chat agent, agent, and then say, okay, I will run this agent with this tool. So it is very similar to how you would use the normal functions as mentioned these tutorials. In normal, let's say, function tools, you just use it with MCPs. And that is more or less everything that I wanted to show, except that, yeah, you can also integrate with more tools, and actually MCP tools are now, you can make them in Foundry, and you can connect also the Foundry agents with MCP tools, but that is a story for some other blog. So thank you for watching, and actually I will be in another video making an agentic system by using Microsoft Agent Framework, so stay tuned.